Hidden away in the mountains of New England is one of the most intact historic quarry sites in the USA, and down this broken road with marking paint still visible lies an entire ghost town that was once built to support it. Rust in Peace, a ghost town abandoned quarry that built America. Starting in 1765, the first settlers moved to this area and supported themselves by selling the venom of local timber rattlesnakes for herbal medicines and through small-scale logging and farming operations. Following major fires in the 1870s, the mountain that loomed over the town was badly burned, causing erosion. Between 1865 and 1871, the Portland and Ogdensburg Railroad laid down rails into the nearby area and began to produce granite at other sites by 1876. The local stone at these nearby mountains was used for polished monuments or for bridges and was known for being light gray in color. In 1886, the special qualities of the stone at the now eroded mountain, which was both red or green tinged and was easy to split in shape, were recognized, and the official redstone quarry with a railroad station, post office, and church was constructed there. Workers at the new quarry would live in ramshackle huts or in the Big Ship, a boarding house that fit nearly 100 men of the 350 employed at the now busy site. These workers held jobs like carpenter, polisher, blacksmith, or engineer, and would work 8-hour shifts, waking at the whistle blast starting at 7 a.m. with a break for lunch and earning anywhere from $2 to $10 a day depending on the position. As one might expect, the work was hard, often involving high-risk and physically damaging tasks like drilling or using bandsaws to cut stone into blocks. The noise of these would damage the workers' hearing, and accidents were common, involving the crushing of limbs by falling slabs or cuts from machinery. Other workers would also end up crushed by rail cars or killed by falling rocks. Even more dangerous was a slow and insidious disease thought at the time to be a form of tuberculosis that would often kill workers by their 40s. This was so common that my own grandfather, a stonemason who I'm named after, who worked on a number of nearby sites, died himself at this age. We now know this degenerative condition as silicosis, which is caused by the inhalation of fine stone particles. The quarry would pump out daily many full rail cars of the unique pink or red granite, using at least a dozen large derricks that would hoist slabs onto large metal mining carts, which carried the stone down the mountain to be finished at a cutting yard. From there, the pieces were shipped far and wide by waiting trains of the Boston and Maine Railroad. Business soon soared from hundreds of thousands of dollars yearly to $1 million, and the town continued to enlarge in the 1890s under new ownership, expanding to produce green granite at a second quarry and adding a school, pool hall, dance hall, company store, and over 20 worker houses. In 1909, the old boarding house burned and was replaced by a large new hotel. Over the decades, stone from the quarry would be used to create well-known buildings up and down the east coast of the United States, such as the railroad headquarters at Union Station in Maine, the New York Criminal Courts, the National Archives in Washington, the Hatch Memorial Shell in Boston, the George Washington Masonic Temple in Alexandria, and Grant's Tomb. Along with the millions of mundane curbstones, stone paving slabs, and fine polished columns for buildings, the quarry would eventually begin to create statues and decorated pieces using Italian craftsmen. Raw stone was stored and swapped with finished products in a huge 400-foot-long building that eventually burned down in 1930. During the following years of the Great Depression, the company managed to stay open and became one of the largest rail stops in the East. However, during the 1940s, concrete began to replace stone in newer buildings, and the now outdated quarry began to run dry of quality stone, mostly closing down in 1942. For a few years longer, some new forges were added to create metal products for World War II efforts, and the last stone quarried was removed in 1948, and shortly afterwards, the land and town were both sold at auction, the machines going silent, with some being sold and the rest becoming engulfed by the forest, and the town's now empty shanty houses began to slowly sink into the ground, with a single, old, overgrown road running through them, and it's here that our adventure starts. For this exploration, we're bringing along a new camera, and we will be periodically switching between the old and new ones, labeled Camera 1 and Camera 2. If you have any input on which you prefer or why, please let us know below in the comments. It's clear from glancing to either side as we walk through the woods that they still contain numerous collapsed worker houses like this one. Traveling with us today and helping out with the cameras are special guests Raziel's Dream and Free Spirit.
Some poison ivy.
A second house lies submerged under the leaves.
There's just a lot of poison ivy here, and I'm very allergic to it. Yeah.
We spot what seems to be a lamppost and head towards it. An electric meter still running with no structure anywhere in sight.
They really like you. Must be that lobster juice on you.
An enigmatic cement pillar stands in the woods off the road. If you have any idea what this is, or any other item that we encounter, do let us know, as I'm curious about some of these.
Pylons.
Maybe the others will come let us live on their island. I hope so.
A third collapsed structure. These woods are littered with them, and in the interest of time, I've cut most out that we found. This granite pillar is covering a pit of some kind. To its side is what I can only guess from the square bodies and wheels are some old mine carts. The first standing building we encounter later turns out to be the old carpentry shop for the town, which produced building materials, crates, and other quarry needs. It now stands some 70 years after abandonment, with darkly contrasting open windows and large holes in its sides.
Whoa. Cool. A lot of broken glass. No, I'll go right ahead, buddy.
The building may have been occupied at least as a hangout or a party spot until the 1980s based on some of the things lying on the ground around it. We're going to switch to camera 2 for a minute to show you the upstairs.
Really thick glass. Let's all get in and dance and see how it's going. Interesting. Oh, I can feel it.
Yeah. Shifting into it.
Yeah.
Force count. Force. Fledgling graffiti artists. May their style grow. May their message become more than just force count. Fortnite is. I probably agree with it whenever it is. Huh. Seeing another paintball in here. Paintball gun.
Don't step in the hole.
The second floor is huge but empty, and it's clear that a third story lies above, but there are no stairs in sight. Woodpecker, huh?
Nice. I thought that was something breaking.
Oh yeah, he's right there.
But no.
Yeah, I was about to crap my pants on. So.
Good eats in here. You guys want some?
It's like right over here.
Something to eat. Well, honestly. Oh wow, cool, dude. Whoa. What is that?
The large machines ahead were used to polish unfinished granite pillar pieces after they were removed from the large shed lying behind them. A tall derrick was maneuvered to insert the 20-foot-long granite pieces into a lathe inside the shed, which would then spin and polish them.
Oh wow.
There's a lot of attacks.
Wicked, huh? Loving these gears. They're cool.
Yeah, it's okay if you set it on that.
Yeah. Well, I'm up to date on my tetanus shots, so. Oh wow, look at they got a big metal thing hanging out right up top there too.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
That's crazy. Yeah. What is that? Is that like a blade or something? Geez, I already got some kind of beautiful tones in these woods. Wow. Very cool. Oh, all this gear work. How gnarly is that, huh? You should check all these gears out back here.
Ooh. Can.
Let's take a closer look at the machinery with camera 2.
it's just hanging out right up there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I see that now. That's insane. How? Were they just growing and then you didn't give a fuck?
Oh wow.
That's that same wire.
Holy. Wow. Whoa. Jesus. That is cool. Holy shit.
Part of the tree now. You can get like closer.
Hanging and even fused into the nearby trees are the guy wires of the now fallen derrick that was used to hoist the stones. In the earlier days, wooden carts drawn by oxen were used to move granite blocks from the newer greenstone quarry to stops further down the mountain like this one for processing. Later, metal rail tracks like the one flanking the path were added to allow metal trams to be used instead. A winch would then control the descent of the cart down this first section, and then to a larger and wider rail track.
Let him go.
Pieces of rejected granite have been used to form a path winding along the discard piles of the quarry.
Whoa. Hell yeah. Cool. Whoa.
Money shot.
Look at that quarry, dude. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, all these cables, poles are still.
To the side is a sort of large tube with a vented end.
Unreal. Holy crap. Wow.
The view at the quarry is mesmerizing. Guy wires still hang from entire intact wooden derricks that protrude from the water. There were at least 12 of these, the largest of which was almost 100 feet tall and made of fur from the west coast.
Oh yeah, very cool.
While water was once pumped non-stop from the quarry for use in polishing, the blacksmith shop, or for cooling of hardware, it's now filled the pit entirely, partially submerging the great machines and wheels that peek from its murky depths. It's not clear just how deep it goes. Around the quarry were also horse or ox barns, warehouses, and other support buildings. This shed appears to have been one of the winch buildings that would control the derricks and burn coal for steam power and later on used electricity. Everywhere are cables. They're metal brackets and machinery that once controlled the huge wood beams lifting of the great blocks.
Wow.
Blow my nose. Video of that.
Quality.
That can be a commercial. Just zoom in.
Sponsored by.
Yeah.
With the allergies getting to me badly, I decide to snap some shots from this outcropping and try not to sneeze my way off from it. As we head back to lower sections with even more buildings, a huge stone discard pile runs along our side. But this too is dwarfed by the massive fields that lie at the furthest topmost parts above us, where the quarrying first began of the red granite. Through the trees are two huge coal boilers standing next to rusted air compressors. I've learned since that the compressors were for supplying air for the pneumatic drills and machines in the quarry above us.
Oh yeah.
Right on top, growing right out of it. Interesting place to root. That's like the tree that, it's like the equivalent of something like the tree. It's not tall.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not tall.
I'm a big tree.
While now appearing like a hulking, half-buried, shelled creature, this beast would have in its day been a state-of-the-art fire tube boiler, which was sometimes known to explode into strange shapes. A large retaining wall held up the ground here, and presumably buildings stood above it, once covering the machinery as well.
You got a little outcrop.
Further along is a still standing shower and bathroom for the workers. Inside are antique cast iron metal toilets with porcelain veneers.
TVs, radio, not much in here.
While the blacksmith house is long gone, this production belt used near the end of the quarry's days to produce war materials and to maintain the tools that needed frequent sharpening due to the workloads put on them, stands now unmoving and alone, a fitting last image of the industry of a town that once helped build so many of the monuments of our past. As for the future of the quarry site, it remains as murky as its flooded depths. In 1975, a drilling project was undertaken to explore the idea of the use of heat from the decay of radioactive minerals at the site. After drilling to 3,000 feet, the idea was dropped, with the area eventually falling under state ownership. In 2012, the old boarding house for workers, which had struggled on as a hotel, was torn down after decaying from decades of disuse that started in the 1970s. Over the past decade, many scrappers and thieves have pulled out much of the old machinery for salvage, and today, just a single carved stone marks the entrance to the ghost town, along with a small number of houses where the descendants of this forgotten place still reside, the looming presence of the quarry still hidden on the mountain above them. Join us next time as we explore the ruins and tales of 3 lost ghost towns of New England. This is Desertify Urbex, breaking news. We have reports that the singing man of the castle has sung again after his demands were met.
I never thought it would come to this. Here you go, here's the video you've been waiting for. Flowers, Scotland, by your one, truly, the singing guy of Ravenscraig.
Oh, Scotland, oh, when we see your like again, therefore in die for you weeping hill England that stood against him. Proud it was army that sent him homeward to think again. The hills are bare now, in autumn leaves lay thick and still. Someone's looking at me through the window, it's creepy. The land is lost now, was those that dearly had that stood against them. Proud it was army that sent him homeward to think again. Fuck. Those days are past now, and in the past they must remain, but we can still rise now and be a nation again that stood against him. Proud it was army and sent him homeward to think again. The hills are bare now, in autumn leaves eyes lay thick and still, bent over his till now. I don't know the words, okay? Against him, crowded with army, that sends him homeward to think again. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and please stay subscribed.